My name is Bill Borden. I am Microsoft's Corporate Vice President for Worldwide Financial Services, and I cover the financial services industry globally. So my home is in many places on airplanes.
And when it comes to using AI, which is the focus of the conversation today, everything obviously starts with having good data. In your experience, from what you've seen and heard, how are financial services companies in particular going about getting hold of that data, making sure it's timely and safe and meaningful? Are there any use cases, any sort of particular sets of data or sources of data that are particularly uh, set up or geared up to be taken advantage of by a large language model and AI in general?
Yes, financial services institutions, whether they're banking, capital markets, and insurance, data and managing data is at the core of how they have to operate and how they have to run their businesses in a safe and secure and sound way. And is also key to obviously how they are regulated in terms of how they manage their data. So it has to be correct, clean, pure. It has to be in a way that shows they're operating their businesses in a correct way, and it's also the foundation for how they're doing their decision sciences and analytics. So managing data at an enterprise level has always been a key investment and key strategy for financial institutions. Now more than ever, with AI, as you were saying, right? You've got to have your data in an environment where that you can actually reason over it if it's going to be the core to your AI strategies. And so there's been a lot of focus on capabilities that institutions are building themselves, as well as many third-party solutions around data management. Microsoft has recently launched a product called Microsoft Fabric to help enterprises also manage their data, to have a view no matter where that data is sitting, to have a one lake view of that information if it's sitting in multiple clouds or sitting in multiple application sets, so that you can start to reason over it for analytics. And institutions have used machine learning, artificial intelligence based capabilities for years, right? Particularly around fraud and security and looking at patterns associated with making decisions and next best actions. But now with generative AI, the idea to be able to use large language models and bring them into your enterprise environment, not necessarily have to invest in those large language models, but leverage large language models that are available in the marketplace, that are actually at a much more cost effective manner to build on top of that with natural language capabilities to solve problems much more quickly. That's been the exciting part in the last 18 months, right? And so, the ability to bring those large language models into your enterprise environment, to manage those models in a structured way in your security, compliance, and control structures, and then to start to build capabilities on top of that is where this all started 18 months ago. Obviously, with Azure, our partnership with OpenAI and our ability to use Azure and OpenAI services to do that, and then Microsoft building AI capabilities into its products, and the advent of Copilot capabilities in Microsoft products and the ability to build your own Copilots is what the industry's focused on. You've seen a lot of use cases in the marketplace around this, mainly starting in the areas around internal facing ways to drive productivity. And I would say that's happening in four areas. One around workforce productivity and how do you actually drive productivity gains across front middle and back office workers. Two, using AI to drive product differentiation in all of your product capabilities and building AI into your channels so that the customer experience, whether you're an individual or a business or an entity, actually can get at information and serve itself much more uniquely and discreetly given what services you're offering. And then three, institutions are thinking about using AI to fundamentally reshape their business processes. And then four, ultimately bending the curve. And there are many examples around institutions that have been doing exciting things in those four buckets.
And you kind of touched on that already now, but what shifts are you seeing in how financial services companies are approaching AI and machine learning? Anything that stands out to you?
Yeah, I would think the industry itself, and it's been talked about in multiple industries, particularly in financial services, the idea of use cases and thinking about where these capabilities can be applied are vast. All right, institutions have talked about hundreds and even thousands of use cases to apply this technology to create value. So, where have institutions been focused on to prove out that the technology can be managed in an enterprise environment and then scaled. And it's not just managing the tech, it's also your operating environment around your culture and how you bring together IT, business, risk, compliance, and security in a way that you're managing this in a way that is within your policies and procedures, and also adheres to your regulatory compliance approach to how you deal with regulators around the world. So it's technology plus your approach to business. And look, there have been some really interesting use cases in the area of, as I mentioned before, around employee productivity. In the area of developer productivity, that's been a place in particular where this technology has been used. Microsoft's GitHub Copilot, and our approach to Copilot as the idea of having generative AI be associated with individuals and human users. So it's a Copilot, not a pilot on its own. And so there's been many use cases proving out developer productivity in terms of the ability to write code faster and test it and recreate code at much faster volumes with the safety and security and quality of what's needed for the industry. And so institutions like Citi have rolled out GitHub Copilot and talked about it publicly to tens of thousands of users. In the other area of productivity that's been announced, the Microsoft M365 Copilot has been broadly discussed and talked about. The idea of having a Copilot assistant in your M365 Office environment that can help you manage your calendar, manage your emails, take on queries and tasks to help you create presentations and help you think about ways to organize yourself across your M365 capabilities, as well as query out to the web for even standard queries because of the ability to actually use our generative AI capabilities, much like OpenAI does today, but built into your Copilot. Massive uptake on M365 Copilot. It's our fastest rollout of a new SaaS-based application that Microsoft's ever produced. You've had companies like UBS make announcements of rolling it out to all 50,000 of its employees. So lots going on in the productivity space on the user side. In terms of customer innovations, for the most part, this technology has been used to support internal servicing of customers. As institutions learn internally around how to use this in a safe and sound way, the idea of assisting customer service representatives or banker relationship managers with an assistant to actually see questions or anticipate questions to help the relationship manager or the banker address their customer needs. There's also been some capabilities of allowing this technology to answer questions on a self-service basis for customers. So companies like Wells Fargo have created assistants to help their bankers with assistants to answer questions that might have taken 10 minutes are now taking 30 seconds. And so the idea of productivity gains in the branches across the nation for Wells has been a big driver. And so you've seen that start to get into the employee experience and product experience and value experience for customers. And then agents to actually think about managing your business process flows differently. That's where agents are coming in. And that's really taken off in the last 6 months around automating and or processes or workflows with agents, and how do you build that into your workflows. And then there are certain things around bending the whole innovation curve completely. Like Moody's talked about their development of a research Copilot assistant that was developed internally and rolled out to all 13,000 plus of its employees globally to actually reason over all of the Moody's data to actually allow individuals to make decisions to serve their customers. And then they quickly turned that into a research assistant that is available on their website that external users can go to and actually reason over the Moody's information free of charge to actually show the power of what that can be. So talk about building something quickly and then getting it to market within a year externally has been rather remarkable.
So thinking about some of the downsides or risks specifically, just a few days ago, one of the leaders at JP Morgan put out a statement, an open letter to the AI community, kind of encouraging them to be more mindful of this. How have you seen financial services businesses balance the need for innovation with regulatory constraints or potential other risks, cyber threats, etc., as it relates to AI tools in particular?
It's been building on how institutions have been managing the use of technology and using it in a safe, sound, and secure way for years, right? Anytime there's been the launch of a new set of technologies, whether it was the web or mobile, and then the movement to cloud, certainly required institutions to understand how to build these capabilities, manage them, and do it within a structure of safety and soundness, to then offer to their customers, and then to discuss with their regulators how they are managing the technology in a secure and compliant and operationally resilient way. And so that has been building on the process of how AI has been looked at as well. So the idea of responsible AI and the development practices around rolling out AI has been building on that framework. And we certainly offer a responsible AI framework as well. We've been working with our research institutions and our engineering teams for years around the use of technology in safe, secure, and sound ways. And we've now built on top of that with AI, and we offer a development framework, which is really around the security, compliance, privacy, the ability to be inclusive with this technology and do it in a safe and secure way. And so we offer those capabilities to our customers as they use the AI, and then we also obviously use that as our development framework as well for building AI into our own products and services. And so we also work very closely from an industry perspective. My team is made up of individuals from industry with backgrounds like myself. We bring a perspective of working in these institutions inside of Microsoft to talk to our engineering teams and to talk to our government affairs team so that we can work directly and have conversations with the regulator community about what this technology means. We do shared education so the regulators understand it. We do that with our customers as well, and we also support our customers in the conversations they're having with the regulators. So there's a lot of conversation around how to actually think about this in a secure and safe manner.
So obviously, this development is happening very fast. If you were to predict, let's say, I don't know, 5 years in the future from now, what do you think will surprise us the most about how AI is being used in the future?
Yeah, it's a really interesting question. Look, we just recently published Microsoft's Workplace Trends 2025 report. But what you really start to think about is, with the idea of not information, but insights being readily available. Turn on a spigot and you can have insights about any information and topic you want. That's real time and based off of looking at the entire data set right across what's available to you and what's on the internet, along with your own proprietary information. So if information and insights are that readily available, then what does that mean in terms of impacting workflow, right? And the idea of what workflow means across the idea of humans plus co-pilots assisting them, plus agents that can be working in the background. And so, you start to think about what does that frontier organization look like around how they operate with humans plus agents. And it's quite interesting. I think 82% of the leaders in the report, and this is across all industries, including financial services, are saying that they expect to use digital labor in some fashion in the next 10 to 12 months. So thinking about digital labor plus human labor working together, I think 46% of the leaders already have workflows or processes already automated with agents. And another 78% of those leaders are actively thinking about how they hire more AI development talent. And so when you think of operating with the idea of I have an assistant, plus I have agents working for me in the background, plus I can manage agents plus humans working together, that creates a whole thought process around how does that collapse what you do today and give you the ability to think about, how your organization functions across front, middle, and back office, and what processes and workflows really can be automated to the point where it's really your value add on top of all that that's really going to differentiate you with your customers.
Bill, super interesting insight. Appreciate you taking the time to share that with us, and I look forward to following your work going forward to see what else you come up with, you and your team. Thank you very much for your time today.
Thank you. Anytime.